Who was the first president to wear pants?
And what do Halley's Comet and the life insurance industry have in common? Answers to those and other questions coming up in this episode of The Off-Ramp with Bob
and Marcia
Smith. Welcome to The Off-Ramp, a chance to slow down, steer clear of crazy, take a side road to sanity, and get some perspective on life. Well, Marcia, that's quite a question there. The first president to wear pants?
Think about it, Bob.
We're not talking Levi jeans, are we?
No.
Because they didn't wear the pants like we have today. Can you explain that a little bit before I get to the answer?
Okay. Well, what did they wear? What did George Washington wear?
Pantaloons? I don't...
No, there was a name for those half pants. They were called breeches.
Oh, okay.
You know, those little things that came down the calf. They were above the calf. Anyway, that was a very much held over tradition from England where you would dress to impress and apparently showing off your
ankle impressed.
Your muscular calves impressed people. But so we didn't have an American style back in the day. So all the presidents wore breeches. You see them in all their poses and fancy pants.
So I will say Andrew Jackson was the first president who didn't wear those.
Oh, well, you're getting warm. Like I said, John Adams wore breeches, but his son, John Quincy, he was the first one to wear pants.
The first president to wear pants, what we would call pants today.
Yes, and it was starting to become a political statement that if you wore the breeches still, it was kind of a conservative old fuddy-duddy way where John Q was, he's a hip guy who, he was a great diplomat. He helped formulate the Monroe Doctrine, and he was steadfastly against the expansion of slavery. Anyway, this new fancy pants guy said, I'm not wearing those, and he put on long pants.
I'll be darned.
So there you go.
So when was John Quincy Adams elected president?
I knew you'd ask, so I wrote it down. He was the 6th president, and he was elected in 1825.
So it took until 1825 before we had a president who really wore his pants.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's a question sent in from Stephen Short.
Oh, that's great.
Of San Francisco.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for submitting that question.
He wanted me to give you, Mr. President, who loves his president questions, he wanted me to give you that question.
Okay, well, I didn't have that answer.
You didn't have the answer.
The man who really wore the pants in the family was John Quincy Adams. All right, thank you, Steve. Okay, here's one. We all know that there's a comet that circulates and comes back every so many years. It's called Halley's Comet. I used to think it was Halley's, but I read the name rhymes with valley, so it's Halley's Comet.
Huh.
Now, what do Halley's Comet and the life insurance industry have in common?
They only pay off every 10 years.
No.
20 years, 50, 100.
What they have in common is Sir Edmund Halley. Because as a British scientist and astronomer and mathematician, he did many things. He predicted the orbit of that comet, which was named for him. He published the first charts of the prevailing winds of the oceans, so we know where the winds are. And he recorded the celestial latitudes and longitudes of 341 stars. So he actually kind of mapped out the skies. But he also invented actuarial tables. And that's what the foundation of the life insurance industry is.
Interesting mashup of professions.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, he apparently had a talent for reducing large amounts of data to meaningful information, and in 1693 he studied the death records of the city of Wrocław, Poland, and he published his findings in an estimate of the degrees of the mortality of mankind. Now, that article helped the British government sell life insurance annuities at an appropriate price based on the age of the purchaser.
What year was that?
That was in 1693.
So they were life insurance in 1600s?
Right.
Holy camole.
Actuarial tables became the foundation of the life insurance industry, and that was 1693 that it became a science based on the estimate of how long you're going to live.
So they had a good chance to make money. They saw the actuarial table and thought, and the odds can be in our favor. It's like Las Vegas, right, where the odds are.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, okay.
And it was from the astronomer Edmund Halley.
Okay, got it.
All right.
Okay, Bob, what was the first city in the world to reach a population of 1 million?
I thought it was supposedly Rome and back way back, but it could have been Beijing or one of the Chinese cities.
Yeah, they were early, but nailed it, honey. Rome in 133 BC.
133 BC, it had 1 million people.
Yeah.
My God, that's amazing.
I thought so, too. And did you know there's a Rome on every continent in the world?
Yeah, well, there's Rome, New York, and I don't know what other cities in the United States have Rome.
Well, just every continent has at least one Rome.
Okay, I have a question for you. How big?
How big was it?
How big was the Boston Tea Party? We all have heard of the Boston Tea Party.
What do you mean in terms of people? Number of people?
It was big. It was pretty expensive, too. So,
well, you got to give me a quantify here. How should I
Well, you know what it was about.
Yes, taxes.
Taxes on tea, right?
Correct.
And that was one of the last taxes that the British refused to release because we have to show our authority to the continental people that we can tax them.
Take the breeches and the tea tax.
That's right.
The tea tax.
So how many chests of tea and how many tons of tea and what was it worth? Any idea? Just give me a round number.
Okay, I'll just say what it's worth. In today's dollars or back then?
In today's dollars.
In today's dollars, I'll say 432 million.
No, it wasn't that much.
Okay, I don't know.
That's a lot of tea, Marsh. Okay, so now let's go back in time. This goes back to December 16th, 1773. Other cities refused to buy tea. Basically, they just said, we're not going to buy the tea. Just take your ship back to England. And they sailed all the way back with this tea. Merchants were very upset. The government, they're not buying tea. But in Boston, there was a law that once your ship docked, it had to be unloaded and the stuff had to be sold. So the night before it was going to be unloaded, a raiding party dressed as Mohawk Indians threw 342 chests of tea into Boston Harbor. Now, how much tea did they destroy? 42 tons of tea. That's a lot of tea. Valued at 9,000 British pounds at the time. Now, I went online to see, well, what's that worth in U.S. dollars today? Today, that would be the equivalent of $1.9 million worth of tea. That was the price tag for the Boston Tea Party. $2 million in today's money.
Jeez. That was the beginning of Antifa.
That was
they dressed up as Indians.
That was the beginning of the end of civil government.
Yeah.
Because after that, what the British overreacted. They took away Massachusetts' rights to have town meetings. They dissolved the legislature. And any British official who was accused of a crime would be taken all the way back to London for trial. So you didn't know if anybody was punished for anything they did wrong here.
Yeah.
So all of that led to the American Revolution, that Tea Party.
Thank you, Mr. History.
Let's just put that tea away now.
And Brush your teas. When was the PGA founded, Bob? You know what the PGA is?
The Professional Golf Association.
Very good.
I would assume that goes back to the late 19th, early 20th century. And I would say around 1910 or 1920.
My goodness. For a non-sports guy, you're good at this. 1916, right in the middle of your guess. Today, there are 29,000 men and women members. And it started by a fellow named Rodman Wanamaker. I think it's Wanamaker.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a well-known name. And he established it to elevate the standards of the golf profession and to grow interest and participation in the game. And it did, and it didn't take off till Tiger Woods joined the club.
Oh, well, I think it took off a little before that.
It did, but it really took off.
Ben Hogan and all those guys back in the day.
Yeah, it's always had a following, but it really became much more of a craze after Tiger took to the professional tour.
Okay, now an advertising question.
Yes, dear.
Advertising history. It wasn't until 1911 that the New York Herald accepted advertising for a specific type of product. By closing time that day, the entire stock of this product was sold out. What product was finally allowed to advertise in a New York newspaper in 1911 that had never been advertised before? And you know the name, and
cigarettes?
You know not cigarettes. This is a woman's product. It's a fashion product.
A girdle.
No, maternity fashions.
Oh, really?
And the brand was Lane Bryant.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, Lena Hamelstein, a Lithuanian immigrant who had married and had been widowed by her first husband, David Bryant, went into the business for herself making ready-to-wear clothing, and she also introduced the first maternity dress in 1904.
Wow.
But it wasn't until 1911 that the New York Herald accepted the advertising for maternity clothing. And here's what the Lane Bryant ad said. I've got it here. It is no longer the fashion nor the practice for expectant mothers to stay in seclusion. Doctors, nurses, and psychologists agree that at this time,
Psychologists weighed in on it, huh?
a woman should think and live as normally as possible. To do this, she must go about among other people and must look like other people. Lane Bryant has originated maternity apparel in which the expectant mother may feel as other women feel because she looks as other women look.
Wow.
And again, by closing time, the entire stock of that daytime maternity fashion had been sold out.
It's like pantyhose. Hello?
It was the beginning of a new industry.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it was like you're pregnant and you would just, nobody even talked about that. It was with child.
Yeah.
And then the woman is hiding apparently for the next 9 months.
It's crazy. And you know what's so funny about going full circle for fashion and pregnancy now? So few people wear maternity clothes. They put on tight clothes to show off their bump, their baby bump. So it's totally different.
Very different.
Okay. Can you name any or some of the top 5 best-selling movie soundtracks of all time?
I would say The Sound of Music would be one.
Nope.
And then I would say, okay.
Of the top 5.
You'd think that would be one of them. It's The Sound of Music. It's a soundtrack album.
You've seen all these movies.
And are they primarily in the last 20 years or something?
More than that.
Let's put one of the Disney films we talked about recently that sold so many millions of copies or was seen by many millions of people. One of the Frozen albums. Is that one of them?
No.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay. Disco Fever.
Oh, yeah, sure. They won Saturday Night
Fever.
Saturday Night Fever.
That was number 2.
Huh.
Another dancing movie was number 3.
What's that?
It's up at the resort in the...
Oh, up in the Catskills.
Yeah.
What was that? That time of my life.
Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing, of course.
Okay, and the King of the World.
Oh, really? The
Titanic soundtrack. And number 5 was Grease.
Okay.
But the number 1 was The Bodyguard.
Oh, no kidding.
Whitney Houston.
I never thought of that as a soundtrack
No,
movie.
me either, but she sang, awesome in there. And
okay, sure.
So that was the 5 best-selling movie soundtracks of all time.
That makes sense. Okay, to change topics, how much does a blue whale's tongue weigh? This is a Marcia question.
It is.
The blue whale's tongue weighs as much as a fully grown elephant. Just the tongue of a blue whale.
Really?
Yeah, or as much as a sport utility vehicle.
All right.
So between 1,200 and 2,000 pounds.
So it's a ton.
Yeah.
Tongue. A ton of tongue.
Ton of tongue. That's exactly right.
All right.
All right, and what is unusual about wombat poop?
Oh, you were just full of Marcia questions.
Well, I'm not
today.
full of this. What is unusual about wombat poop?
Is it the shape of it?
Yes, it is.
Is it a rectangle?
Yes. Wombats poop in cubes.
Well,
they look like little squares.
Is it Rubik's Cube? No.
No, it's wombat squares. Wombat cubes. You got me confused here.
Okay. All right.
All right, and one more.
All right.
What's unusual about some sea slugs? I debated about even including this today.
Well, I
thought it might upset people.
That was a good idea, Bob.
But apparently, you went down the wrong path, Bob, and you
go
decided
ahead
to use
and
it anyway.
Answer it.
Okay, some sea slugs have disposable penises. After mating, they fall off, but then they grow back.
There's so many jokes there. I'm not going to touch any of them.
Okay.
How very interesting. Thank you for that enlightening information.
Yeah, I'll bet you feel that way about it. Okay.
All right. Now, you recall the last movie soundtracks, best-selling, Bodyguard, Saturday Night Fever. Can you name any of the top best-selling cast recordings from Broadway shows?
Sound of Music.
None of the same.
Darned. Okay. Broadway cast recordings. Now, does this go way back? Or are we talking about Alfred?
You've seen all these except one. Me too.
What's his name? The fellow from England that did all the shows.
Oh, yeah, he's in here.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah.
So like Cats and...
that's not here.
What's the one with the ramparts? We saw that live.
Les Mis is what you're thinking, and that is number 2.
Okay, so Les Mis, I got one.
And Lloyd Webber did not do that.
Okay, sorry.
I know.
Excuse
I had
me.
a fight with my brother over this.
How about the Phantom of the Opera?
Yes, that's the number 3.
And that was Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, how many am I trying to come up with?
You got the number 2 and number 3.
So these are all cast recordings
I have
again.
often walked down the street before.
What was that from? That's from way back when we were kids.
Come on, Bob. Everybody. knows.
Oklahoma.
Oh,
No? Oh, it's not
My
that
Fair
funny.
Lady.
Oh, my God. It's what I said earlier. Oh, I said Sound of Music.
Yeah,
I'm
this
sorry.
is cast recording. And number 5 is one neither one of us have seen, Wicked. And number 1, you should have had this one.
All right. What's
What's the last big show we saw? We went to Chicago.
I know, but I can't think
Hamilton.
of it. Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
the number 1 best-selling cast recording
So tell me those
from
again.
a Broadway show. In order, Hamilton, Les Mis, Phantom, My Fair Lady, and Wicked.
And that means it's time now for a break, doesn't it? A break from all this wicked stuff.
Uh-huh.
We'll be back with more in just a moment. You're listening to The Off-Ramp with Bob and Marcia Smith. Okay, we're back with The Off-Ramp. And, Marcia, we did a question similar to this sometime back, but it's not the same animal. What animals see more daylight than any other creature on the planet?
Well, that's intriguing. More daylight.
It's something that flies. I'd put it that way.
Something that flies. Daylight.
And it's not paper.
I don't know.
It's Arctic terns. These are birds.
Jeez.
You think you have a long commute when you have to go to work? They have the longest commute known to man or beast. 25,000-mile round trip. You know why?
No.
Because they commute between their breeding grounds and their wintering grounds in the Antarctic. 25,000 miles. So they go from the Arctic to the Antarctic. So each year,
Jeez.
they make that trip, flying from pole to pole, almost never landing.
Really?
And because of that migration pattern, they see more daylight than any other creature on Earth. The Arctic tern, T-E-R-N. It's the name of the bird.
Where did they go to retire, I wonder?
They go to Florida
I was
like
gonna
everybody
say-
else, I
I was
think.
gonna say.
Arizona or Florida,
Yeah,
one
all
of
right.
the two.
Just wondering. Okay, last question like this, and it's totally different answers for the top 5.
Well, hopefully it's different answers. It's a different question.
Well, it's not that different.
Oh, okay.
Can you name any of the top best-selling film soundtracks?
Well, I thought that's what we were talking about earlier.
No, we
Oh,
did
dear
cast
God.
recordings from the Broadway show. Hamilton, it was number 1 with the cast recording from the original show. But this is film soundtracks. So these are
Excuse
Broadway.
me, but what was the first question you asked me?
The one was best-selling movie soundtracks of all time.
Well, what are you talking about now? It's film soundtrack, same thing.
Film soundtracks of Broadway shows.
Oh, dear God.
I know.
This is a subcategory of a subcategory.
Well, I find it interesting because
I'm not saying it's not interesting. It's just confusing.
I know, honey. I'm here for you. Okay.
All right, I
now
don't know.
you've seen all these movies. Best-selling Broadway film soundtracks. These were Broadway shows brought to film.
Okay,
And
can I get any other hints? Give me a hint for one. The plot, maybe, or the setting, or the time frame.
All right. Maria.
Okay. So we're talking, the one took place in New York City. Leonard Bernstein did the music, and it was called... What the heck was that called?
North Side Neighborhood? No.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of it.
West Side Story.
West Side Story, yeah.
That's number 3. And Don't Cry for Me.
Okay, well, I won't. Don't Cry for Me, Argentina.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's the name of the show?
Oh, I thought that was it.
No.
Oh, it's the name of the woman.
Yeah.
She was the wife of the dictator.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's as far as the brain wants to go right now.
That's Evita. That was number 2.
Okay.
Number 4 was Chicago.
Oh, okay. I saw that.
Number 5, Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia.
Oh, yes, that
and
was...
number 1 came in as... Oh, I'm sorry. This was referenced on the first one, but this is number 1 on this one, and it is Grease.
Okay.
It's the best-selling Broadway film soundtrack. So there you have it.
That you have confused me and most of our audience
Well,
on these.
what's great is you hardly answered any of those.
Yeah,
So
I know you love that. Let me ask you a very sophisticated question
Yes,
since you
sir.
got all this entertainment out
All
of the way.
right.
Why was Dolly, the cloned sheep, named after Dolly Parton? This is the first cloned sheep. Remember?
Yeah,
that was a few
I
years
remember
ago.
the whole thing,
They
and
named
it
her
wasn't.
Dolly.
Well, it
they
wasn't.
named her after Dolly Parton.
The thought that comes to mind is not good for family library
Oh,
radio.
Marcia, here's the answer. Shame on you. It's because Dolly, the cloned sheep, was cloned from a mammary cell. It's true. She was the first
Yeah.
cloned
Oh,
animal.
okay.
And the stockmen adopted that name for her because Dolly Parton has many mammary cells. Okay,
Memories.
All right, here's one.
Oh, I wish.
here's a question. Animal question, another animal question for you, Marcia. We've moved from Dolly the cloned sheep into another sophisticated area. What climbs trees in the jungle but technically doesn't have feet? What is it? You'll be surprised at this.
I will, huh?
Yeah, everybody will be surprised.
All right, then tell me.
Monkeys.
They don't have feet?
You think they have hands and feet, but because they have opposable thumbs instead of big toes, they're classified as being four-handed creatures.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
That's also why they could climb so well.
That's why we're here to enlighten people.
That's right.
Do you remember Evel Knievel, Bob?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The rocket motorcycles, he would shoot over the canyons and so forth. Yeah.
We grew up watching him do
Stunts.
stupid things.
Stupid, dangerous things.
Well, he holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the most broken bones.
Really?
How many broken bones did he have?
He had 200 or 250 broken bones at some point?
433.
Good God.
Yeah, he stopped jumping in 1976 when he was seriously injured during a televised, and I think we all saw this, attempt to jump over a full tank of sharks at the Chicago Amphitheater. He died in 2007 at the age of 69 from pulmonary disease.
Wow. So he was pretty young when he died, when you think about all that. You know, when you watch those things at the time, I don't know, we were in our 20s, I think. I was even thinking, why is this guy doing this? You know, is he making that much money? Does it make sense to do these silly things?
It's something you can't relate to because it's not in you, and that's the need to...
The danger thing.
The danger, and they're driven by different things, Bob.
I suppose you're right.
Of course I am.
Okay. All right. Speaking of being driven by different things, I'm going to ask you this question. Another history question, business history.
Oh, good.
One of America's great inventors produced something on the side while he produced his invention. This gentleman produced a number of illegitimate children. A big number.
Was that Ben Franklin?
No, not Ben Franklin. This is another inventor.
Okay. Edison.
No. This gentleman invented something that went into almost every home on Earth at one point.
Okay, tell me.
Isaac Singer.
The sewing machine.
The sewing, the inventor of the Singer sewing machine.
Yes, I guess he got his bobbin going in and out somewhere.
Well, in 1852, that's right, when he and his partner Edward Clark went into business together, he had already fathered 11 illegitimate children.
Wow.
Eventually, he fathered 24 children.
Good
24
Lord.
illegitimate children. He impregnated 4 women, only one of which he bothered to marry.
Yeah.
And through a series of complicated maneuvers, none of the women found out about the other until 1860, when one of his gals saw him out for a ride with another woman. She set off in hot pursuit and told the whole world about their relationship. And police were called in to break up a violent argument, and then the newspapers told the story to the world. Singer took the younger sister of one of his mistresses with him. He fled to Europe. Clark was shocked. He dissolved the partnership, but both he and Singer retained stock in the company, and Singer died at his mansion in England in 1875. But Isaac Singer, who made millions of sewing machines, also fathered 24 illegitimate children. That was what he was doing on the side when he was inventing
Put
things.
a zip on it. Okay. The largest gliding animal in the world, Bob, is the giant flying squirrels found in the forests of Asia. Question. How far can they glide?
Okay. Because they go from tree to tree to tree.
Yeah.
Is it in terms of feet?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd say 300 feet. That's a long way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, 150 feet.
No. The most recorded so far is 1,476 feet.
Holy cow.
More than the length of 4 football fields.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
Yeah. They grow up to 3 feet 7 inches long themselves, the flying squirrels, but still, they're weird to look at if you've ever seen their bat wings or whatever. And that's a lot of gliding.
That's longer than a turkey can fly. Turkey has wings and it can't fly that far.
No.
And there are other animals that are birds that, have evolved to have the equipment but don't fly. But here is an animal that doesn't.
So think about this at the opening of a football game. Instead of having the jets fly over, they could have gliding squirrels.
Gliding squirrels. Released from what? Where would they be released from?
I don't know.
Some kind of a jet or something?
I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, a mountain question, Marcia.
Oh,
you
good.
love these.
I love those.
Okay, mountains create...
Unless you put a president on top of a mountain and then ask...
1902, when Teddy Roosevelt stood at the peak of... No. Okay. Mountains create their own weather systems. How many weather systems does Mount Kilimanjaro have?
How many? I'll say 4.
No, it has 6.
Okay.
Interesting enough. Now, that is a 19,340-foot mountain, so it's one of the world's tallest. I didn't realize this, and you've seen pictures of it in Africa.
Yeah.
It is a volcano with 6 ecological zones or microclimates.
Huh. What are they?
Well, I don't have names for them, Marcia. Jeez. Okay.
See, you'd ask me. Okay, good.
All right, let me ask you this then, Little Miss Smarty Pants. Where are a cricket's ears located? Where are a cricket's ears located? Come on, you know.
On his back.
No.
On his stomach.
No.
On his head.
No.
On his toes.
You don't know, do you?
What's left?
On his front legs, just below the knees.
Of course.
Why would you God put the ears of the cricket just below its knees. Jancy's like, why did you put them there, God? Okay. Okay, how can a cricket tell you the temperature?
Oh, the louder he crickets, the warmer the rain is going to come?
Nope. You count the number of chirps in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
You put a timer on it, 15 seconds. Then you add the number 37, and you have the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, come on. That's absurd.
No, it's true. You take the number of chirps in 15 seconds, then you add 37, and most likely you'll have the temperature. It's just the way it is, Marsh. I know you don't like that, but...
Well, come summer, baby, I'm going to give that a whirl.
If you can hear it for the locusts.
Yeah, the cicadas.
Yeah.
You know the difference between a cicada and a locust?
I thought they were the same thing.
I don't know.
Oh.
I was hoping you did.
Jeez. I'll just edit that one out, okay?
No.
Make us look stupid.
It's not that hard.
That's what it is.
Okay. All right, I'm going to leave you with a thought from Mac Anderson. You're always just one choice away from changing your life.
Oh, okay. I thought it was, you're always just one choice away from total disaster.
That too.
Or the best decision you ever made. Depends on how you look at it.
Oh, yeah. But I prefer to think, think people who are in desperate depression, all that, you're just one choice away from changing your life forever.
Well, that's a nice neutral way to look at it.
I thought so.
Still have some hope there. Okay, I'll look at it that way as a very positive thing to say,
It is
Marcia.
positive, Bob.
What? Just tell it again.
You're always one choice away from changing your life.
What a positive thing to think of. What a great way to end the show.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Well, that's it. We hope you've enjoyed this half hour, and you'll join us again next time when we return with The Off Ramp. I'm Bob Smith.
I'm Marcia Smith.
Till next time, take care.
Bye.
The Off Ramp is produced in association with CPL Radio Online and the Cedarbrook Public Library, Cedarburg, Wisconsin.